I worked for him at the BBC. I did Mr. Rose Virgins. I'm not sure if you know Mr. Rose Virgins. And another short film called Not Even God Is Wise Enough, which I don't think not many people know about that one. But yes, so I started off working with Danny from BBC. And then I was actually staff. So he asked me on Shallow Grave what I wanted to come and cut Shallow Grave. And BBC wouldn't let me go. So I said, okay, I quit. So I quit to work on Shallow Grave. Well, I think we sort of set a sort of a style on Shallow Grave, which was sort of quite, I don't know, cutting quite hard on action and stuff, which sort of created a sort of I don't know, a rhythm, which is quite different, I think. So it's just a continuation of that. The only thing about Trainspotting is the fact that it's narratively is quite doesn't really exist. It's all sort of vignettes joined together. So it was quite different in that respect anyway. Although the rushes were great every day, you know, because I was working in London whilst everybody was up in Glasgow working. So I was just getting all these rushes through working in London, and you know, another great scene. But you know, when you actually put them together, you think, what am I going to do with all this? Because it's just one scene after another. There's not that much sort of a thing happening. So therefore you sort of start to play with music, and because I didn't have any voiceover to begin with, which was added later. Although it was in the script, no one actually had done one yet. While I was assembling when they were still shooting. So basically I sort of play with music. Trying to sort of group scenes together to see if they sort of flowed better, which they sort of do. But there's only so much that you can make it work in that respect without sort of making it look like yet another video sequence. It is harder in different ways. It's technically a lot easier because you're not having to do too many sort of like considered cuts internally. So it's more of trying to sort of string things together. But then it's how you can make them work, you know, together. And in the end, because it's voiceover, music, and scenes and dialogue, so it gets a lot more complicated towards, you know, as you're trying to sort of knit everything together. Which is totally different from sort of just doing scenes, you know, without the voiceover and stuff. So, yeah, it's quite different in that respect. It's sort of thought about, yes, to use, you know, not score, but to use songs. I think that was always, because I think that's in Irving Welsh's book, it's sort of referred to. So I think if I remember rightly, he sort of gave me a cassette, as it was in those days, to listen to in the cars, all the sort of like songs he liked and what he thought should be in the films. So I sort of basically took, you know, bits from that, what I was assembling to see. But what I normally do is, you know, I never assemble to music. It's the other way around. I actually add the music to scenes to see if they work or not. And then if it sort of gels in sort of places, then you sort of start to play around a bit. But generally, you know, not like MTV, which is the other way around. You got a piece of music and you put pictures on it. So it's totally the opposite way. You're trying to make the music work to the scenes you cut. So it's a slightly different process. And also the fact that it was cut on film, which, you know, when you're actually cutting on film, it's all physically one cut to the next. So it's quite different to do it on a computer, really. You don't sort of, you know, pick a piece of music and you cut to it. There's only one bit which actually I cut the music, which is that montage in London. Whilst everything else is sort of like, it's more organic, you know. Like even Born Slippy, because Danny asked me to put that for the end, to make it work for the end. But then I thought, okay, if I play that back to the previous scene, how does that feel? And it sort of felt right. And then I thought, okay, so if I let it start, where can I make it start? So, which then ended up being the end of the pub scene, when he lights a cigarette to Begbie. So the music starts there, and then sort of carries through. So, and it sort of has that sort of quiet build, which sort of worked very well.